Hey everyone, Scott Collier, West Ham Fan TV. What a transfer market we've had so far. You know, some quality players coming in at the moment. It's really good to see. Still being linked with some more signings, so we'll have to wait and see on them ones. But we thought we'd just bring you a little video just to look at the players that may be going the other way and leaving the club this summer. Obviously, James Collins and Reece Burke have both moved on. Collins being released on a free and Burke going to Hull City. A good move, and I know everyone wishes both them players the best of luck in whatever they achieve now. But there's rumours flying about certain players leaving the club, so we just have a look at the squad. You know, as I said, we've brought in some great players, so we're just going to go through a few of the players that may be leaving in the summer. Probably one of the most high-profile players is Michiel Antonio, linked with moves to Palace. I was chatting to a few Palace fans last Saturday. You know, they're hearing rumblings that he's a player that they're looking in. I think it depends on whether they let Andros Townsend move on to Newcastle. I think if that happens, that transfer happens, I think they will be in for Antonio. You know, Antonio, very, very good player on his day. You know, we've seen what he can do. You know, he's a willing runner, good in the air, very, very strong, hard to get off the ball when he's running at you and causes teams a lot of problems. For me, you know, we've seen a change in his attitude a little bit. I do think that West Ham have rushed him back too many times from his injuries, and that may have affected his performances. You know, we've not seen the best of Antonio in a long time. You know, Pellegrini does seem to be taking his time looking at players. I just think maybe Antonio might be one of them to move on. Another player I can't see getting into this side, well, I can't see getting into this, Sam Byram. With the arrival of Fredericks, Zabaleta being ever-present last season at right wing-back, I do not see where Byram fits in our squad, to be honest. You know, I like the lad. He's, again, another player that shows little flashes of what he can do, but he's inconsistent. He picks up bookings very, very, you know, easily, and it seems to be every game he plays, he seems to get a booking. And again, his injuries are letting him down. You know, he spent nearly all of last season out injured. We have a lot of injury-prone players, and I think it's about time now we started to move these players on. So personally, Sam Byram would be one that I would look to move on. Another one, in my opinion, definitely needs to go out the door is Jordan Hugo. Jordan Hugo. I don't see why we signed him, I'll be totally honest. I don't rate the guy, you know, I don't mean to cause him any disrespect, but in my opinion, which, you know, everyone has different opinions, I just don't see the point in him being at the club. You know, I think we should be looking to move him on straight away and trying to get ourselves another striker in. You know, maybe they're waiting for Hernandez to come back and see what his situation is, whether he wants to go, but and obviously Carroll being injured, but for me, Hugo's one of them that's got to be shown the door. Reece Oxford, another one, very, very tricky to see where he fits in his side. Had a good season in Germany last season. Played a few games, holding midfield role. But with the emergence of Declan Rice in the West Ham lineup last season, the fact that he started playing holding midfield for Ireland as well, and the competition for places, especially with Wilshere coming into our midfield, you know, you've got Noble, you've got Obiang, you've got Chiarte, Wilshere, and Declan Rice, all vying for that midfield spots, depending what, obviously, formation Pellegrini looks to play. But I just can't see Oxford getting a lot of game time. I don't think he'll leave on a permanent. I do expect he'll probably go on loan, and so the club can just monitor and see what he's doing. And also, I've got Josh Carlin, you know, a player who we all thought would probably go, and Pellegrini sort of took a shine to him. So he's been given another lease of life in the squad. So I just think Oxford might be one of those that does move on, but more on loan than on a permanent. And Nilson Fernandez, again, the competition in our midfield is very, very strong. For me, he had his injury problems last season, but when he did play, he was very, very inconsistent. There was a game, I think it was against Chelsea, he come on, he looked like a world beater, and in other games, he looked like a passenger. Last season, it's very hard to judge because last season was very, very poor, but, you know, we're trying to step up a level this season. And for me, I know he's young, but I just don't see where he fits in the side. You know, and I just think he may be one possibly on loan, but I do expect him to leave on a transfer. Another one, Snodgrass. It's very tricky with him. He had a really good season with Aston Villa last season. He's come back, you know, he probably wants to prove a point to the fans. But again, with the players we've brought in the summer, is he a player that will get into the team? You know, I think he'll be a good squad player, and what I saw of him last season wasn't the Snodgrass that we had, you know, before we let him go to Villa on loan. So, you know, new lease of life, new manager may change things up. So it'd be an interesting one to keep an eye on with him. But he's another one that I can see leaving this summer. Another one for me as well that needed to go. I think, to be honest, his injury has sort of stopped him leaving the club. Is Andy Carroll again? You know, he comes out and says about, oh, it's good to get, so, you know, I'm looking to get a full pre-season, breaks down for 3 months. You know, how many chances are we going to give this guy? But it is a case of who would sign him. Very, very injury prone. Seems to go down the injuries. You know, he's their very own Mr. Glass. I've loved Carroll. I think he's a great player. He's unplayable in the air, causes teams a hell of a lot of problems. But the wages that he's on, I just think, you know, he is a player that we need to move on, especially as he's coming to the end of his contract. You know, so, but I think with his injury, that's probably kept him at the club. Same as Winston Reid in a way. You know, very Reedy, again, solid centre half, a player who I've liked for a long time, but getting these injury problems, you know, getting a bit older now, new centre backs coming in. As I said, the emergence of Declan Rice coming through, Oxford banging on the door as well. Really, you know, again, could be the fact that he's out for the length of time he's out may have kept him at the club, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. You know, for me, it's going to be a very, very interesting and exciting season. You know, trying to pick a starting 11 at the moment for our side is very, very tough. You know, Fabianski's coming in, you know, puts a lot of pressure on Adrian. So it's going to be interesting all over the pitch to see what Pellegrini goes for in his first league game. You know, me personally, I'm really excited for this season. The quality we've brought in to add to the good players we've got. You know, I can't wait for the season to get up and underway so we can see what we're all about and try and push for a minimum of a top 10 finish, in my opinion. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know, like, in the comments below, who you guys think you would possibly move on out of the squad this summer. Players that you'd like to see come in. You know, for me, I think we do need to go out and sign another striker still. I don't think we're comfortable in that position. I know there's rumours floating about Arnie leaving. I pray to God the guy stays. You know, he was absolutely superb last season. I can just see the players that we've bought, Wilshere coming in the midfield as well. I just think Arnie could thrive from being in this seed and in this team. And same as Hernandez. You know, it's really, really exciting when you look at our front line could look this season. You know, we could cause teams a hell of a lot of problems. As I said, check out the comments below. You know, let me know what you think, whether you think I'm right about the players that I've said in this video could be moving on, who you would move on, who you'd like to see coming in, and one thing left to say, come on you irons.